what the marketing pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media and stop letting it use you. That's one thing about a business. It's an equalizer. It's a game changer. We have to think like the successful companies. Welcome to the show. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I am Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. If you ever find yourself at a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit show. It's that simple, because we have information here that's going to help you if you are a business owner. If you are thinking about joining the business world, if you know someone who's contemplating becoming an entrepreneur, then this show is a valuable resource that should be on everybody's radar. I'm not just saying it because it's me, but it's one thing, it doesn't cost you any money. And you get the information from someone who has a lot of receipts. I am a business developer by trade. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. Cut my teeth in corporate America. I've been in the boardrooms. I've held every position. I've been CEO. I've been CFO. I've been CTO. I've been a lot of C's and O's. But that's not to brag, but I'm just saying that I don't take this very lightly. And I've been at it for a minute. So got my receipts. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. You can find out more about the company by going to gatewoodmarketing.com. Also, go to marketingpulpit.com to find out more about this show. And you can watch past shows. You can search on topics of interest. If you have a burning desire to know about something like branding or technology or social media, just go to the website and type in the topic in the bar, and you'll bring up the show of interest. I'm also an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College here in the DC area. Been doing that probably about 23 years. And I teach marketing, I teach social media. I also have a course on networking. I'm also a consultant with the Small Business Administration, helping companies in the 8A program. And I've written a couple of books, marketing related, one called Smarter Than the Boss, and another called Played in Full, the marketing exploitation of Blacks in America. So this information is out here for those who seek it. And we have an exciting show lined up today. We're going to talk about technology. We're going to talk about technology today. And that's the reason I'm talking about technology today. It didn't just come to me out of the blue. I was last week, about a week ago, a little over a week ago, I was at home. I was actually getting ready to go to a funeral. And I get a frantic phone call from one of my clients. And man, she was just really kind of beside herself because she was having some stress. But before I get to that, it's all ties in together. I was thinking about somebody this morning also. Somebody who I had met due to technology, and someone I had never met in person also due to technology. And we had a client in common. Matter of fact, it was two clients in common. One was a big nonprofit organization that represents people in the construction industry, minority contractors. And this same person, we also shared another client with a young lady who shared that organization, and she has her own company, a construction management company. So I met this guy on that. We met online, and we had this client in common. So how this all comes together, as I'm getting ready on this particular morning to go to a funeral, I get a call from a client who's very panic-stricken, and she called to tell me that her IT guy had passed away And it just so happened to be the same guy Garnett that I'm speaking about. Now, of course, I'm saddened by this. I have a lot of things going through my mind. I'm thinking about, I lost 2 other friends and clients during the pandemic. I'm thinking about, I'm getting dressed to go to a funeral. I'm thinking about my own mortality all of a sudden. But I had to block all of that out for the moment to help this client who was in distress. So I had to put all my personal thoughts and feelings aside, at least for the moment. But it did get me thinking about this whole thing about technology. So that's why I'm going to talk about technology today. When you have, like this client, who is heavily dependent upon technology. I mean, they're in the middle of a massive email campaign for a big event that's coming up. They're government contractors and they have project managers. But on this particular day, this client was in distress because they couldn't get email and they were having some other technological issues. So even though I'm not what we call an IT person by trade, I'm more of a web software programmer. But every now and then, technology kind of blends into each other, these different curriculums, these different fields. IT and web services, they tend to overlap, particularly when it comes to things like email and server maintenance and things like that. So this particular day, I had to set aside my grief that I was going to a funeral. I had to put aside all of my thoughts of my own mortality and come to the aid of this client who was heavily dependent upon technology. Even though, like I said, I wasn't the IT person, but I knew enough about it to at least get them out of the condition they're in. So to make a long story short, I put together some stopgap measures to get their email flowing the same day once I got back from the funeral. And by the end of the week, we had them fully back online with all of their email accounts working. We had to set up Team Viewer and work remotely. I went by the shop a couple of times, but it was quite an undertaking. So that's why I woke up this morning with a couple of things in my mind. One, I'm really sorry about Garnett. Prayers go out to his family. But also this technology and how much we have become dependent upon it. And I need to talk about it today with you to make sure that you have a full grasp of the importance and that you have the pieces in place so that your company, your organization can survive in this technological age. And even if you're not even if you don't have a company, just an individual, then you want to make sure that technology does not leave you on the sideline. Because that window of opportunity is closing for many small businesses who have not embraced technology. They simply put, they're going to be facing obsolescence. They're just not going to be able to catch up at some point. So I want to talk to you later in the show about technology. Let's give you some basics on some of the things that you should be doing, some things you should understand about technology. And so I just want to make sure that your company has the tools and resources to survive in this technological age. I'm Robert Gatewood, and I don't thank everybody for tuning in. This is the Marketing Pulpit. Everybody who's tuning in for the first time, I want to say thank you for joining us this morning. If you are a regular, if you are a follower, and you've been with us through the years, like Brother Brown, I want to say welcome back. Thank you for making this show the successful show that it has become. Now, when we talk about success, our measurement, our yardstick might not be what others might consider success. We're not measuring it on how much money the company makes or the show makes or how many advertisers we have. we measure our success on the ability to get this information into the desktops of those who need it. And by that barometer and by that yardstick, we have been quite successful. We started the show over at Radio One back in 2010. The name Marketing Pulpit actually came about because my dad was a Baptist minister, and he was literally on his deathbed as I was conceptualizing the show. And so to honor him, I named the show Marketing Pulpit to honor the many years he spent in the pulpit delivering the gospel. And that's also why one of my slogans is bringing you the good marketing gospel. I'm not here to save souls. My dad did that. I'm here to save businesses. So we got a great show lined up today. You can find out more about the show by going to marketingpulpit.com, where you can listen to the show right there on the homepage. You can also get us on LinkedIn, where we're broadcasting live. You can also get us on Facebook Live. You can get us on YouTube, where we have a very good categorization of the shows. You can get 1 minute bites. You can get the marketing sermon separated from the entire 1 hour show. It's usually about a 10-minute sermon we do at the end of every show on the topic of the day. We have 1 minute. We have some of the motivational segments that we do at the beginning of the show, call that the monologue. And we actually have broken down some of the news items that we do. You can get that on YouTube, where we have a very good playlist of topics. So you can, however you like the show, in 1 minute bites. You want to watch the entire show, you want to watch the sermon only, you want to catch the news, or if you want to get motivated, go to YouTube, and we're all things Marketing Pulpit on all the platforms, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so forth. We got a great show lined up today. Like I said, later in the show, we're going to talk about technology. And why I woke up this morning thinking about technology. The passing of Garnett, brilliant IT specialist. And we have to prepare for some of these inevitabilities. We don't know when our number is going to be called. So certain things you need to put in place. Matter of fact, one of our sponsors now, Pre-Plan Your Way. It's a diary, online diary that you can purchase and catalog all the technology, your passwords and your URLs and who to contact in case something happens to you. So we actually, this sponsor came to us, and we weren't looking for sponsors. And I told them, so look, now this show, we really don't survive on sponsors. I'm going to do this whether I have a sponsor or not. To me, this is public service. So, but anyway, this sponsor came to us and said she would really like to get this message out on how people should prepare in case something happened to them. What's going to happen to their business? And it really got me thinking, like, hey, who's going to know this and that and the other? So I have put some contingency plans in place. So if anybody who's listening on the sound of my voice and one of my clients, just know something happens to me, the business goes on and you would not be left out in the lurch. But you have to plan, like most things. You do have to have some type of plan and strategy. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about some items in the news. But definitely I want you to stick around for the sermon today on, is that window of opportunity for technology closing in on your business? So much so that you stand the possibility of being left behind. You don't want that, I can assure you. So that's why we're going to talk about it right here on the Marketing Pulpit Show, where we come to you every Friday at 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. Also, you can get involved in the show. If you hear some stories and you like to participate, we actually have a way. You can go to marketingpulpit.com, and there's a button on how to be a guest on the show. We get so many requests. As a matter of fact, when I was like about 10 o'clock today as I was getting ready for the show. Got a call from Nigeria, one of our African brothers who's trying to line up a guest on the show. And I sent him the same link I'm sending you. Go to marketingpulpit.com. And there are 3 ways to get on the show. And you can get on the show the same day. If you hear one of the news topics that we talk about and you want to come in and give your own commentary, you can do that. And then afterwards, of course, you can promote your business, your nonprofit, your book, or whatever. So hang on for a second. We'll be back in a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Every week, we talk about some of the hot items in the news. And every week, we talk about some of the hot items in the news. And then you, as a listener, have an opportunity to come on camera and give your point of view. And afterwards, you can talk about your organization, your book you're trying to sell, your event.
It's a collective effort. And because I've seen it from all facets where you have parents who are involved in their child's life, but still things happen.
Well, Robert, I'm in the financial services industry, and I just really want to encourage people to get their things organized and documented.
When we don't see our children learning, we see our children in the street, they're going to learn from something. So it's best that they learn from us.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm Robert Gatewood, and this is the Marketing Pulpit Show. And we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving our community. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning. I want to say good morning to Attorney Bradley Thomas. And glad to see you this morning, Attorney Thomas. He has his own show every Thursday. As a matter of fact, I was watching his show yesterday. Thank you for all the good information you bring to the airways. Of course, he's a great attorney as well. Of course, Brother Brown. They are deaconing each other over there. It does feel like church sometimes, doesn't it? Hey, don't blame me. Blame my dad. Reverend Dr. W.H. Gatewood, Baptist minister. Man, that guy. Whew. Man, he would tear it up there in the pulpit. I'm not going to give you those kind of antics now. Even though sometimes you might want to get up and shout. That's not the goal. My goal is to make your businesses successful. And go to gatewoodmarketing.com if you need some of our services or if you need to get a free consultation. Now, we're not taking on any long-term projects right now. I mean, if you want a free consultation or if you want me to give you some guidance or need something, maybe in the technology field or website or something like that, we can help you. But we're not really taking on business plans and marketing strategies, anything that's going to take more than a couple of months. We will back in when the fall comes around, we'll be entertaining those kind of clients again. But we are full. We are maxed out. I have myself and a few other people working with me, and we're trying to give our full attention to those clients right now who have entrusted us with their companies and organizations. And my goal is I like to under promise and over deliver. Okay, I'm not going to promise you the moon and the stars. I'm going to tell you we're going to do the best we can, and we're not going to take you as a client if we feel that for some reason we can't deliver and exceed your expectations. Let's talk about somebody in the news. Hadn't we decided that? Didn't we think that COVID was just about gone? I'm watching the January 6th hearings last night, and Benny Thompson, the sheriff, he's over there on the side talking by teleprompter through a microphone, through a camera, remote, because he had COVID-19. Also, the president himself, President Joe Biden, 79 years old, he's now been stricken with COVID-19. What's up with that? Didn't we think COVID was just about done? Well, we're seeing a spike going on right now. So we know that people have to live life. Let's not fool ourselves, particularly the young people. They're like, man, forget this. They going to eat. They're meeting and partying and like it's 1999. But let's not be careless. There is a new variant, the BA.5 variant, will be highly infective, and I understand that it's you can get it while you're outside. So these things just mutate into something else. So just be mindful that COVID-19 is still with us. I still have my mask. Sometimes I'm the only one wearing it in certain places. I'm still not really out there yet. I'm not really bringing clients into the office like I did before the pandemic. When we do, we sit in a very large conference room. We have masks on, and we might take them off of certain presentations, but we're being cautious. And I do encourage people to do that, but you got to take care of yourself and just be mindful that we are still in the middle of a pandemic. And here's an interesting story. During the pandemic, a lot of the tech companies and healthcare companies, they made money hand over fist. They were not hurt one bit. And due to that, these CEOs, we've seen the ratio between what CEOs are being paid and what workers are being paid has hit a record high. Right now, it's about the CEOs on average now are earning about 324 times the median workers' pay. 324 times. Now, is anybody that smarter or works that harder than anybody else? I'm just saying. Yeah, you had a good idea. You may have started the company, but you've got people out here fighting to get minimum wage. And you have CEOs making 324 times the salary of their workers. That's not right. I'm just going to say, there's something wrong with this picture. That is wrong on so many levels. Some of that money needs to be funneled back to these workers. Now, healthcare, this guy, Leonard Schaefer, should be Schaefer. His annual salary for last year was $453 million. He was, of course, one of the highest paid CEOs in the country. That's a lot of money. Now, and this is not, I'm not player hating. I mean, if you're making it like that, I'm not mad at you, but there's something in the system that's not rewarding the workers who are the ones responsible for the success of these companies. I know when you talk like this, people call you socialists and communists. I call it fairness. There should not be any debate in this country about paying people $15 an hour, an entire hour, and you only get $15 or less. Let me think about $15. I want you to marinate on that for a minute. What you can do with $15, not very much. And you got to commit an entire hour of your life that you will never get back. And the only thing you're going to get in return is $15. While you have CEOs making $453 million a year. That's not right. That's not right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, one thing I will encourage people to do, instead of player hate, let's get out here and make some of this money. And that's what this show is about. It's not to sit here and complain and curse the darkness. We want you to light a candle so you can go out here and make some of this bank. But you got to do it the right way. I will say to some of these companies that are making this money, they're some smart people. They understand marketing. They understand branding. They understand technology. They're innovative. And if you want to be successful, you as a business owner, you have to do what successful people are doing. At the very minimum, you've got to embrace marketing. You've got to understand how it works. You're targeting, having a mission, having the right mindset, going after that money, getting that money funding that you need. So don't hate the guys that are making the $453 million a year if you're not doing something to elevate yourself. That's all I'm saying. I think they're getting paid too much, but I ain't mad at them. I'm trying to get there myself. But I'm going to do it. I'll probably treat my money a little differently. I like to give back, so I may not ever get there because once I get to a certain level, I'm throwing it back out of the community. But anyway, it's all about what your goals, what your mission, what's important to you. And mine is not to make as much money as I can make. Mine is to make an impact in my community. And I will admit, I've had some modicums of success. Let's see what else is going on in the news, ladies and gentlemen. Google has frozen its hiring for 2 weeks. So this technology train is great, but there's a little slowdown right now. So we're talking about technology later in the show. It's still a great field to get into, but Google and some of the others are slowing down for a moment. Now, Amazon has just bought One Medical. It's a pharmacy company, primary care company, just paid almost $4 billion. So Amazon is sticking its toe in the healthcare industry, and they want to be a big player in that arena. And the best way to get into an arena is not to start up a scratch company, but to go out and buy one that already exists. And we've seen that model with Facebook when they acquired Instagram and WhatsApp. And now Amazon is following suit. They're buying up companies right and left. So Amazon is into the healthcare field. You can get that on Amazon Prime now. I'm paying that $15 a month. And I can come out here and figure out why I got carpal tunnel in my wrist. Hey, maybe that's a good thing. All right, Amazon, I'm gonna get my $16 worth a month out of you, one way or the other. Come out here and check out my arm. Let's see, Amazon is suing Facebook. Boy, battle of the giants. They're suing Facebook over these, what they call fake reviews. they're not suing Facebook per se. They're suing Facebook groups because of the algorithms of how social media and advertising revenue and so forth. Reviews are a big part of the secret sauce, and so Amazon is suing some of these fake groups on Facebook over this these suspicious fake reviews. That's really throwing off their algorithm. That's what's happening on that front. Let's see what else is going on. Now, this is an interesting story. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about some other items in the news. Matter of fact, we're going to segue into our segment, War in the Workplace, how different companies and workers and the roadways, and we actually have believe it or not, we have the animals fighting back. For some reason, this week was big on animals and men coming to blows. So all of this is relevant to our business segment, War in the Workplace and business news. So I don't want you to go anywhere. Hang on for a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. We'll be back in a minute. Also, if you want to join the conversation and chime in on any of the topics we talk about today, we have instructions on the website under the section called Be a Guest on the Show. And we'll bring you on the screen and let you talk. Give us your point of view. And afterwards, you can also promote your service, your business, or whatever you're trying to do. This is the Marketing Pulpit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. I'm not dead. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. Every week, we talk about some of the hot items in the news, and then you, as a listener, have an opportunity to come on camera and give your point of view, and afterwards, you can talk about your organization, your book you're trying to sell, your event.
It's a collective effort, and because I've seen it from all facets, where you have parents who are involved in their child's life, but still things happen.
Well, Robert, I'm in the financial services industry, and I just really want to encourage people to get their things organized and documented.
When we don't see our children learning, we see our children in the street, they're going to learn from something. So it's best that they learn from us.
All right, welcome back to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday, 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. Not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving our community. I'll say good morning to you folks over here. Good morning, Brother William Murray. Glad to see you, my brother. Hope everything is going well with you. Mr. Murray and I, we go way back. We travel in some of the same circles. He's a broadcaster and has his Millionaire Mastermind Institute group. And I've actually appeared on several of his stages. Glad that you could join us this morning. Much continued success to you. Also, if you want to join the conversation, last week we had one of our listeners, Brand Lee, the model. She came on, we were talking about Facebook and some of the challenges of social media. And we're glad to have her to join. And she's out going down to a modeling expo. She talked about that on the show. So it's a good opportunity for you to come on and talk about what's going on in your life. And so we've made this show less about me and more about you. And if you have something going on you want to talk about, come on here. Let's talk about some of these news items. And then when we're done, let's talk about what's going on with your organization. Get your little free promotion And we are marketing Pulpit International. Like I said earlier, we got a call this morning from Nigeria. Somebody's calling in, want to come on the show. I'm giving them the same instruction I'm giving you. So it's open to all. Just follow the rules. Let's talk about war in the workplace. We still have people shooting up the place. In Indiana, in a mall, a man shot and killed 3 people. These young men with these long rifles, they just going to fool out here. Now, what was interesting about this particular incident, though, the gunman was shot dead by an armed bystander. So a young man was shooting up the place with a machine gun, and another young man with a pistol took him out. Now, of course, in the logical, mathematical world, you say, well, that was an equation where they canceled each other out. Life is good, right? But no, we still have this abundance, overabundance, this saturation of firearms out here in society. The first guy shouldn't have been shooting anybody. 3 people lost their lives. And the second guy who shot the guy, I'm not ready to call him a hero yet. I'm saying as a society, we shouldn't have this rampant gunplay going on in our malls and our schools and our churches on the highways. So, of course, the reaction, particularly the gun people, oh my goodness, a good guy with a gun stopped the bad guy with a gun. How about nobody with a gun? How about that for a minute? We don't want to lose 3 people just so a good guy with a gun can come along and be held as a hero. That doesn't add up to me. Let's work on getting rid of some of these guns. Even here in the DC area, in Charles County, St. Charles County, some guy was robbing a convenience store. He had a knife. He put the knife to the neck of one of the clerks, pretty much dragging her around the store. Once again, customer comes in, has his piece on him, bam. This sounds too much like the Wild West to me. I'm just saying. So you gun people out there who are high-fiving each other and saying, hey, see, I told you. I mean, eventually you're going to have everybody walking around shooting at everybody. We're seeing it on the highways under this road rage. People's tempers are short. Now they're going to the mall. Why you need to go to the mall with a gun in the first place, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy? Why you at this quick stop, the convenience store, pumping your gas, packing a 357? Something is wrong with this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not normalize this. I'm just saying. What is going on? Gospel singer Kim Burrell. Man, she's getting a lot of heat this week. She was invited down to a appearance down to a church, I think in North Carolina somewhere. And she got on stage and it was the Coca-Cola. It was a festival presented by Coca-Cola. And I think no, that's not it. This happened recently. But anyway, make a long story short, during her presentation, she made some comments that really rubbed people the wrong way. Something along the line of you have to interview your friends and make sure if they're living in an apartment, a double wide trailer or house, if they got their electric bill and their kid's name, you have to make sure that if they've been employed or broke, how long have they been broke? And then she went on to talk about something about people being ugly. And then she said, pretty much hallelujah to folks who are not who are not wearing masks or vaccinated. Well, of course, she was promptly excoriated. Black Twitter did its thing, what it does. And she was basically run out of town on a rail. And she came back with an apology. And then her apology was problematic because at the end, she pretty much said, if you talk bad about me or defame me, I'm going to sue you. I'm not an apology expert, but something about ending the apology with a threat to sue you kind of takes some of the sincerity out of it. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't apologized a lot lately. I really haven't called anybody ugly or poor. I'm sure I've probably done some things that people might think are worthy of apologies, but I doubt that I'm going to, at the end of it, saying, by the way, if you say something bad about me after this, I'm going to sue you behind. Take some of the sincerity away from the apology. Then she came out with a second apology. And then she threw a lawyer under the bus and said, look, hey, the lawyer made me do it. Don't you sue me, Kimber. I'm going to say allegedly everything. How about that? Brother Thomas, the attorney over there, is that how you get out of trouble now? You say allegedly, or I heard, or this is just my opinion, or it could be true or false. I'm just saying, don't come after me. I'm just reading the story. Pastor T.D. Jakes, he's also, man, what's up with these preachers? And for those who don't know Kim Burrell, she's a very popular, she's like a gospel minister, singer. And if you're not sure who she is, if you ever watched Whitney Houston's funeral, I fell in love with that lady after that. She sang that song, A Long Time Coming, at Whitney Houston's funeral. I never heard of her, but I never forgot her after that. I said, man, that lady is a singer. She has some pipes on her. Man, she does those rips and it's been a long day. I'm not going to try to be Kim Burrell, but that's how I heard about her. But Pastor T.D. Jakes, now he's in hot water also because he's trying to do a Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels passed a month or two ago. He was an online personality who pretty much got his reputation by being pretty tough on women, telling women how to get a quality man or high value man, and pretty much put a kind of expiration date on women. If you don't get a man by 35 and you're overweight, you got kids, your chances of getting that kind of man. Now, one thing I will give him credit for, he did try to get people to tone down their expectations, okay? You can't be out here, don't have your own house in order or not trying to increase your own value and then expecting somebody, a high value person. So what his whole thing was that, look, get your own women, get your house in order. If you want these high value men, you got to kind of, but his delivery was a little suspect, and he earned the ire of many women. Well, Pastor Jake, that ire now has been transferred to Pastor T.D. Jakes because he made a statement that just has a lot of people up in arms. He said, the families are lost because we are raising up women to be men. Whenever you make a statement like that, however good your intentions are, you're going to get some heat. I'm just saying, whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, nuanced, sometimes right, other times not. You've got to couch these type of statements with something to let people know that you're not telling women that they should be second-class citizens or that they should put their own aspirations aside, because women, particularly Black women, have gone through a lot in this country. I mean, all the way back to slavery. They didn't have the luxury of sitting back and being feminine and learning and being prima donnas like some of the people of the other race. They had to carry a lot of the weight that men traditionally had to carry. And through years of indoctrination and it kind of become part of the culture. And so it's not something you just turn off tomorrow. If your mother had to wear the pants in the family to be the man and the woman, then the daughter is going to pick up some of those characteristics. But what we have to do as a community is to work together. We have to work together and understand the history. Instead of turning on each other, let's look at the people that put us in this position in the first place. I didn't do it. I'm a big supporter of women's rights, but at the same time, I understand what T.D. Jakes was trying to say, is that somebody has to be the woman, somebody has to be the man, and then you get into the LGBTQ AI. So it's kind of confusing. So that's why I say you kind of have to stay away from these kind of topics if you're not ready to go all in and have a panel discussion about it. Otherwise, you're going to look like a bigot or a sexist or homophobic or whatever. So, but I'll give him credit for making a statement and taking a stand, but just expect the heat when you make these kind of statements. I'm just saying, brother Thomas, thank you for that advice there, brother. Say allegedly. So everything I'm saying today is allegedly. Allegedly, I'm Robert Gatewood. I'm pretty sure that's pretty accurate. I'm not going to sue me. Okay, what else is going on? DoorDash now will be scanning customers' ID before delivering alcohol. The reason I brought this story up because it's like one of those stories like, you just doing that now? Thank goodness, that's a good idea. You can't just show up at somebody's house with a fifth of liquor and say, oh yeah, let me see your ID after you get there. So now they've got this app where you can scan your ID and let them know before they get to your door with the booze. And now if that's not bad enough, the drivers now have to also check for signs of intoxication before handing over the booze. So you call the DoorDash, he brings over your Heinekens or your Stella D'Or or whatever the drink of the day, your Crown Royal. And you stand there with the bag and you look at the person and you're like, are you drunk? Well, if the driver is, I guess the driver discretion because it says they are not allowed to deliver alcohol to someone who's visibly intoxicated. I guess they don't have like a breathalyzer to give you. But anyway, this technology and this new way of doing business nowadays, it is fraught with challenges. I was in the delivery business. We had a company called Telegrocery. And that was one thing we didn't have to deal with it, but I guess because we were trailblazers, but I never forget this lady, I think her name was Miss Livingston or something, allegedly. Man, she be ordering those big old jugs of wine it's so big, you have that little hole you stick your finger through on the handle, like you see on Snappy Smith. Man, she'd order these big old jugs of wine and the drivers were just taking them over there. And one day one of the drivers came up to me and said, hey, Robert, I don't think you should send any more liquor or more wine over to Miss Livingston, or whatever her name was, allegedly. And it may not have been Liv, I'm just using her name. And I said, why? He said, she come to the door. Man, she can hardly hold the door open. And I had a moral dilemma. And I took it upon myself and called this lady and told her, look, I'm sorry, but we're not going to bring you any more wine. Man, that lady cursed me out. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I am not going to be, it was too easy. It made it too easy for her. Because as far as I know, her family probably wouldn't bring her the wine. But here I was, here's my company going in there just giving them all the wine they can handle. She can handle. Oh boy. Anyway, back to these companies that have these services that come to your door. Uber will reimburse thousands of disabled customers over unfair wait time fees. And that is the right thing to do. Because if you're disabled and you're challenged, you can't get to the door as fast as somebody else. You can't get into the cars. You got to load your equipment. You got to come down the steps. You may have a walker, a cane. And so if you've taken longer to get in the car or the ride than somebody else, you're basically paying a disabled fee by default. So Uber is going to reimburse thousands of disabled customers over unfair wait time. And I think that's the right thing to do. The Department of Justice got on their case about it. So I don't know if they did it voluntarily, allegedly. But let's see what Bradley's adding to the conversation here. Bradley said a person holding a private party can be liable for accidents caused by a drunk driver that leaves the party and crashes into somebody else. That's why the ballpark stopped selling beer at the 7th inning. Well, dang on it, Bradley, you should stop selling at the 7th inning. And you have to be responsible if you are, whenever alcohol is involved. You just can't say, look, hey, turn the tap on and everything else be damned. You really have to be you have to take some responsibility, particularly when you're serving alcohol. And you got to look at folks. If somebody's walking out the door staggering, you just can't spell them out and say, look, hey, good luck. No, that person needs your assistance. And so as a human being, whether it's a law or not, you just, let's be a society of helping folks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what's going on so we can get to our story. We're going to talk about technology in a minute. Let's see. Bears eat a wealthy couple after the pilot crashes into the wilderness. It made it into the news. I guess it's work related. That pilot, I'm sure that pilot was saying himself, now this wasn't in the job description. I might get eaten by a bear. You don't know what you're going to encounter on your job anymore. That was probably the last thing on his mind. Going up in the airplane on the helicopter. I don't know what wealth they had to do with the story. I guess the bear likes rich food. I don't know. Let's see. Woman dies after a dog attack and led to the mauling of the state worker investigating the attack. Now, this was very tragic. That's why I said that. I don't know how animals made it into the business news this week. But it was tragic enough that this lady had been mauled by a dog. That wasn't the story. What made it this a business story is that the state worker goes out to investigate, and the same pack of dogs come along and maul her. That to me is just tragic. That's why I have a soft spot for workers, no matter where you work. Oh my goodness, that's tragic. That's tragic. Let's keep moving here. So we get to our technology story today. And these people are taking these. So these people, some people are fighting back. A Maryland man chokes a K9 doing a traffic stop in Barkwell County. So that's too wild. So the cop comes up, the K9 is those dog units. Well, anyway, this guy was drunk, or allegedly. And I guess they put the dog on him. He ended up choking the dog. Bus driver who drank on field trip arrested after liquor store trip. Okay, let me keep going here. Some of this stuff. A Rochester police officer was placed on administrative leave after he arrested an EMT who reportedly hit his police car with the ambulance door. All right, so you're the police. You're in your police car. So here comes this pest of an ambulance EMT worker trying to save somebody's life. How dare he hit my car with his door? Doesn't he realize that door ding is more deadly than that person whose life he was trying to save in that ambulance? This stuff is hard to believe. This stuff is hard to make up. So he arrested the EMT worker, allegedly, who hit the police car with the door of the ambulance, who's trying to save somebody, who's bringing in a patient into the hospital. Don't get me. This was News 10 out of where is this? It's somewhere up in Rochester, allegedly. Thank you, Bradley. I'm going to be saying that for everything now. I don't want Kim Burrell or anybody else coming after me. Let's see, what else we got? Here we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and jump to our doctor caught raping pregnant woman undergoing a C-section. Oh, God. Ex-Papa John employee killed worker and attempted to have sexual intercourse with the corpse. Oh, God. Let me stop. Can't make this stuff up. Whew, man, where's your crown royal when you need it? Allegedly. We're going to talk about technology in a minute, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back from the break. If you are a business owner, you do not want to move because you may be about to be left behind if you don't realize it. So we're going to talk about technology. What got me thinking about it this morning, I told you, this young man, Garnett, he and I shared a client. He was the IT person and I was the web and technology person. And there's some overlap. Some people think web people are IT people and IT people are web people. They're really not. IT is about hardware, networking, systems, security, and all that stuff. Web and technology services is more about software programming, but there are some overlaps, particularly in areas like email and maybe server maintenance. We're mostly cloud-based, and a lot of the IT people, they deal with hardware on the ground. But anyway, so we had Garnett passed away, and I had to step into the IT role to keep this company's email and some of the other services going. And so it touched on two issues. One, preparing for what might happen if your company, if your IT person or your web person disappears. You need to have some basic understanding of technology. You need an IT plan, a web plan. You need to have all your passwords and things in some safe location. And so there's two issues here: being prepared and then understanding, having a basic understanding of technology yourself. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So don't go anywhere. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood. We'll be back in a moment. So hang on right there. Every week we talk about some of the hot items in the news, and then you as a listener have an opportunity to come on camera and give your point of view, and afterwards you can talk about your organization, your book you're trying to sell, your event.
It's a collective effort, and because I've seen it from all facets where you have parents who are involved in their child's life, but still things happen.
Well, Robert, I'm in the financial services industry, and I just really want to encourage people to get their things organized and documented.
When we don't see our children learning, we see our children in the street, they're going to learn from something. So it's best that they learn from us.
All right, welcome back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday, 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. We're going to talk about technology today. And I want to ask you, is that technology window closing for your company? And are you going to that point of no return? Now, a few years ago, I was a consultant with the Department of Labor through a contract with the National Urban League, and I was working on the Mature Worker Program. And my job as a consultant was to help seniors and people who are 60 plus navigate online job applications because it was a problem. All these companies now, you don't sit down and go in the back room and give you a little pencil and a clipboard anymore. They said go to the website, and so that was a problem. And so the National Urban League had a contract with the Department of Labor through this program called the Mature Worker Program. And I was brought in as a consultant to help formulate some solutions to tackle that problem. A few years after that, I was working with the nonprofit Holla under another Department of Labor initiative called the YCC. This program was initiated under the Obama administration, and it was to steer young people into the STEM-based programs and professions, science, technology, engineering, and math. And I went down to North Carolina, and there was an initiative going on down there. As a matter of fact, there's a picture of me. This is me right here. I'm at the National Urban League in Chicago. We had a conference, and I was talking about the Mature Workers Program there. And these are National Urban League people from all over the country. They come in to hear me talk about this program. And this is me here in North Carolina. These two young men here were part of that YCC initiative. What was interesting, this young man here, he was going into the military. And The one on the left said he was going to the military, and then the one on the right was going into the ministry. And they both of them afterwards made a good testimony. Matter of fact, it's on the website somewhere. They talked about how even though they were going into these different areas of or professions, that this particular program helped them realize that they needed technology, regardless of their profession. And I drove that point home when I was down in North Carolina at this Holler, this STEM initiative that was one of President Obama's flagship programs. It's called the YCC. And you can find the information on both of these on the Marketing Pulpit website. But anyway, what that was, though, it was a sober reminder to me that whether you are young or old, you cannot escape this technology. And technology is really like a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword when you get down to it. Because the good, of course, is that the products and services that come with technology, you can be price, you can fluctuate your prices, you can have all these different nice distribution channels, you can promote, got all this technology, the metrics and KPIs. Those are some of the good sides of technology. Some of the bad, not so good, of course, is the privacy issues. There's a big problem right now with privacy on some of these technological platforms. If you're doing something bad or nefarious, bad news travels very fast. You're constantly on the attack. Your intellectual property and products and ideas are constantly compromised. And one of the downsides of technology is that's not fair. It's not treat everybody equally. And that was evident, obviously, when I was in this program with the National Urban League, the Mature Workers Program. They were trying to remedy that problem. And even with the YCC, is that it does not rain on everybody the same. And so those are some of the not so good sides of technology. But let me give you a little food for thought on technology. Now, we're beyond the point of discussing whether technology is necessary or not. That ship is already sailed. So if you're already out there debating that, then have mercy on you. You got some serious catching up to do. And as a business owner, you have to realize you cannot escape technology. You just can't. I don't care what you're doing. You could be a roofer, a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker. You are into technology. It's going to be into you one way or the other. So you can't escape it, okay? But you shouldn't want to. Because believe it or not, for business owners, you have a unique advantage for people who are not necessarily business owners, that you are forced into technology. You're first forced to learn certain things, whereas people that are working on a certain job, they may not ever get a chance or any requirement. If that job that they're working on from 9 to 5 does not touch technology, then they're not forced to. But if you're a business owner, you cannot escape it. So you have an advantage of some people, because the one of the responsibilities of business ownership is that you have to come into the world of technology, whether you like it or not. And it's going to invade your space regardless of your industry. Now, what people may not realize is that the technology is really not about you. And I think that's a mistake some people make. It's like, well, I don't care about technology. I'm just a car dealership, or I'm just a lawn guy. But what about your clients? Your stakeholders? How do they communicate with you? How do they get their services from you? How do they learn about your marketing? Many cases, it involves technology. So you have to step outside yourself when you're talking and discussing technology. It's not about your prowess or your fondness of it or disdain for it. You have to think about your clients. And I've said this, and I'll say it 100 more times. Whenever you get lost along the way in anything related to marketing, think about your audience. And if you're dealing with a young audience, 18 to 25 or 35 to 54 demographic, you better have some technology in place. It's never too late to learn if you're willing to learn and listen. You're never too old to learn. You're never too young to teach. I've been saying that for many years now. And the funny thing about technology is that a lot of small companies, many small companies feel like they can't afford to do what's necessary. But just because you can't afford it doesn't make it any less important. There are certain things in society that not being able to afford it is not a good enough excuse. You just have to find a way to afford it. You can't just say, well, I can't afford an IT guy. I can't afford a web guy. I can't afford any network. Well, it depends on your business and your business model and your audience. Maybe you didn't write your business plan well. You didn't think that whole thing through. I'm telling you right now, you have an opportunity to right the ship if you would just listen to some of the things I'm going to share with you today. Let's talk about this a little bit more. What's the solution? Well, let's learn. There's a Bible verse, and I'm not going to try to be my dad here. I think it's Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and the door will be open to you. So I'm going to step on my dad's turf today. I'm not trying to say he was sold. I'm still trying to say businesses. But seeking you shall find, knock, and the door shall be open to you. In other words, let's not write technology off. Let's go out here and learn it. Now, how do we survive in this technology-driven economy? Well, number one, get a basic understanding of technology. How it affects your company, how it affects your job, how it affects your stakeholders. Think about your stakeholders, clients, vendors, suppliers, staff, contractors, partners, joint venturers, funders, the community. And think about, do you have the tools to effectively navigate with your stakeholders? One thing about technology, you might like this or maybe not, depending on your attitude. If you get technology under your belt, you will make more money. I'll tell you a little story. When I started working with the Small Business Administration as a consultant, I thought they wanted me for my marketing abilities. I'm like, man, they knocking on my door. I'm the master marketer. I tell you something, they didn't give a hoot about that. They said, technology. I had a little one line on my resume, on my vitae, or my bio, whatever you want to call it. They said, we want that right there. And that's when the wallet fell open. They didn't give a hoot about my marketing expertise, or that I've been doing it for 30 years. They saw that little line that said, this guy is an egghead. He knows technology. And that's when the money started to flow. So that's enough. If nothing else sobers you up, you better get out here and make some of this money. And there's always money out there for technology, I'm telling you. And there's job security. And if you're not sure, go to the company. If you want to know where to get this information, I am an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College. And you don't have to sign up for like a 6-week or 6-month course. They have a workforce development program. They have a BOSS program where you can sign up for a course, like the course that I teach on web services, social media. It's like 3-hour courses. Sometimes you can walk out of there with enough information that you come out of there, you know more than 80% of the people in the world because who didn't take the course. Because the people that usually know this information are working in the field. Everybody else is kind of like they're fumbling around in the darkness. So you can find this information. You can do self-study, group study, do community colleges. So the information is out there to get that basic understanding. Now, if you really want to get some bank, you might get certified in certain professions related to technology. You get boot camp courses, you can online courses, hands-on labs. You can start making some of this money by getting certification. And that's when you really start to get the bank. Like Amazon Web Services, that's a certification. Cisco, Google Cloud, Microsoft, they offer certification programs in the technology field. And so some of you have been out here kicking around in these various industries, and you're like, man, every time I turn around, the darn thing is obsolete. They're closing up. They're laying off. You got to get in something a little more technologically based. I'm just going to tell you. Or you may have to introduce some technology to what you're already doing. Now, you don't have to be like an egghead like me or some of the other folks. You can do low-level tech stuff, like become in the web services. You don't have to be a certified. It helps if you get some certification, but a lot of this stuff you can do some self-study. web design, social media experts. Those are technological based industries, and the threshold is not quite as high. But a good web designer can go out here and make $90,000 a year, 75, 90. So there are ways you can get into this industry without having to go back and get a 4-year degree. If you can't beat them, join them. So some people, look, you're just not built to be a technological person. So how are you going to take advantage of this technology? Well, you can become a reseller. Let somebody else do all the work. Use your influence. Use your marketing, your database, and resell other people's technology services. So you can still benefit without being a technological person. You can white label. You can do. You can become like a little mini Walmart and sell these technology services through your own label, but not necessarily doing the technological work. That way you can still take advantage of technology without becoming a technological egghead. And you also want to think about this. How can you technology proof your job? Some of y'all have jobs and you're like, man, is technology going to come along and knock me out one day? Possibly. Well, this is once again where that technology background is going to save you. You could be an attorney. You could be a floor sweeper. You could be an auto mechanic. The person with the technological background has a better chance, has a longer life in security, better job security than the one who doesn't. So if the industry is not a technological job, then you can make it so. You can be the person in the meeting and say, why don't we do this? Because you took this nice course. You maybe came over to Prince George College and took one of my courses, or you listen to this show. And so you can start, technology proofing your job, your profession, your occupation, your task, your project at the work where you are. So this is some ways that you can have technology to work in your favor. Now, let me wrap this up, put a bow on it. Technology is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. I started this show talking about what happened to Garnett. He was a great IT person, and the young lady who had us both working as her consultants, she spoke highly of him. One of my regrets, I never met him in person. So that was one of the downsides of technology. Sometimes it can be very impersonal. But we did a lot of team viewer meetings. We talked on the phone, but I never really got a chance to meet him. But when he passed, the young lady who had hired us both, how she spoke of him, and it just let me know that if you are looking for an industry where you can make some money and make an impression, then don't write off technology. If you're a business owner and you're trying to elevate your company, if you're trying to build a foundation, if you're trying not to become obsolete, embrace technology. If you are a worker, you're trying to ensure your job security, if you're trying to not be shown the door every time there's a cutback, you want to make yourself indispensable, then embrace technology. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we'll be back next week right here on the Marketing Pulpit Show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I see William. Thank you, William, for tuning in. You had a few comments there. Let me see what William is saying. Have a network of great service providers and keep it. William, that is so true. You do have to have, in the old days, we called that a Rolodex. And whenever something, you have to have those people that you can just turn to. That's one thing I've been able to do over the years, is that I've kind of become a go-to person for a lot of companies, because I've been able to teach myself in a lot of areas. But when I found out about technology, let me tell you something, folks. I've sunk my teeth in that, and I'm like, man, this was the best decision I ever made. And I'm just going to tell you one last time, regardless, you could be 12, you could be 65. It's not too late. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go out here and become a high demand technological person if you're just getting started at 65, but I've given you some several ways on how you can take advantage of it. And you can come into different levels and there's still ways you can take advantage of it and don't get left behind. And I also wanted to ask you to do this. Talk to your young people. That's why I was very fond of the YCC program that President Obama initiated through the Department of Labor. And they were trying to get these young people into the STEM programs. So you have some impact. You see your young people going into these liberal arts degrees and curriculums and bright-eyed and with no idea where they're going to go. Then this is where you step in as the adult and say, look, you might want to share this show. You might want to get them to hand out some pamphlets on some of the opportunities in technology. But let's not keep sending our young people down a rabbit hole where there's no opportunity. When technology is out here in their programs, there's so many programs, and many of them have grants and sponsors. And so let's embrace this technology. Let's not let it become our enemy, but also let's become one of our allies as we move forward, as we try to build strong businesses in our community and put our people to work. And Bradley Thomas, you said exactly right. Doesn't that time go very fast? Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up today. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Be sure to share this show with others, particularly our young people and anybody who's out here struggling, looking for opportunities or have technology challenges. Some valuable information in here. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. People don't understand marketing. You can't stop every time the money runs out. You need to come on and tell people why your service is different. Why is everybody so angry? Airline passengers biting the TSA agents. I mean, it reminds me of one of those zombie apocalyptic movies. And as a community, collectively, we're going to be taken more seriously if we have that strong economic foundation. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.